Alright, so we have gone test driving.
Yes.
So Dion wasn't sure if he wanted to stick with a cruiser, upgrade to a 300 cruiser, or go and get one of the big American cars. So we've gone and test drove everything today. So the first thing we test drove was the Ram.
Yeah, it's big, like really big. I think across the body itself is 2 meters across.
It was super comfy, but
Yeah, and it had an awesome console.
yeah, massive
Like,
big screen.
You could drop your arm in there and lose your down to your elbow.
So much storage. In the back, you could fit like a 6-foot person and they wouldn't be, like their knees wouldn't be touching the seat. So that was really great, but the downfall is that getting them into the country and getting them changed over.
Yeah. So,
Yeah. Getting them changed over to right-hand drive takes a long time.
Yeah.
They had one in stock and they said if we weren't ready to sort of get that, the next one wouldn't be till like the middle of next year. So that's a problem. And also the payload wasn't that great.
no, it was no different than a 79. And to get a GVM upgrade on those, you're looking at about $20,000.
That's what the dealer quoted us anyway.
Yeah, so
So they tow what, 4.5 ton,
yeah, but the car
payload
itself can only weigh like 3 or 3.5, so no different than a cruiser.
Yeah.
And yeah, then you have to do a GVM upgrade, which ups your GVM so you can take more weight on the car, but you still can't tow any extra. You can actually tow less because of the.
Yeah.
So
that was no go.
not to mention it's 160,000
Straight up.
just for the car, without any extras, without doing a canopy, without doing bull bars.
Mind you, they were very generous and said it's 160 if we want the next one to come into the country, but if we wanted the one they had on the lot, 170. So COVID tax. Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, safe to say we didn't get the Ram.
No. And the next one we test drove was the 300, yes.
So Dion was really excited about the 300.
I was excited. I was like, this is going to rival the 200 series. Because my dad's got the 200.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so he's driven that a few times and quite likes it.
Yeah, they're nice, they're smooth. Suspension is good on those cars.
So what you drove? You drove the sport version.
Yeah, the Sport GR. I've got GR Sport.
Yeah.
I liked it because it came with factory lockers, suspension was supposed to be better, and I think it's supposed to, well, it's all still the same motor. But I felt that it didn't have a lot of power, but if you got it tuned, you probably would get a bit more power out of them. The 200 series still has more power, especially when tuned. Like my 79 has the same as the 200 series. And yeah, it just felt like the same amount of power, nothing special. The suspension wasn't that great. You have about the same amount of room in the car. Like it's the motor and engine bay take up a lot of the actual car itself. I just didn't feel like you got a lot for it, and carry capacity wise you were no better off than in the 79. So yeah, there's no win-win there either.
No. So the 300.
No
go.
And that was also 150,000 for that as well, without any extras.
Just stock standard new. So then someone's doing skitties over there. So the next one was the Silverado.
Yeah, Chevy Silverado,
which was like
Z71.
Yeah, so it was super similar to the Ram, which was the Laramie, was the Ram that we test drove. 1500 was the Ram.
Yeah, the 1500 Ram.
So it was super similar to that, except the Silverado was smaller, we reckon, hey, like on the inside, and it didn't have as nicer features.
No, it was column shift. Bit old school, but I guess it freed up the dash a bit more.
Yeah, it didn't feel as nice.
No.
Same sort of price point, I think, too, hey?
I think it was about 10, 20 grand cheaper. Still around what the 300 was worth, but yeah, not what we were looking for either. It still had the same problems with payload capacity. You have to do GVM upgrades and upgrade it to a light truck registration just to try and get the weights you want, and then be able to tow, and you have to import all that stuff from the States.
Yeah. which is obviously expensive. You've got issues with stock, you've got times to import it.
Yeah. And that's another thing that's restricting us at the moment, is just times to get everything done. And yeah, we're supposed to be leaving soon.
It's supposed to be.
When we get the van.
They've promised us we're going to have the van very soon, so the car had to sort of be fixed. And you know, we both work, so having that time to sort things out over Christmas was pretty important.
Yeah. So
that we weren't having to take time off, because we need to save as much money as possible before we leave.
Yeah.
So yeah, Silverado.
Not go either.
No go. So that, you know, we sort of were a bit deflated. We thought that we were picking something different.
Yeah.
And I said to Dion, you know, at the end of the day, if money was not an option, you've driven all of these cars, what do you want? And you said...
I'd stick with the 79.
So,
only difference being, I would have gone the GCM upgrade, pre-rego, if I could have got one brand new.
Though.
But to get one brand new, not registered, it's, yeah, 6 month wait. So that just was not going to happen in this time frame that we've got.
And we even called around and we were like, we want a car tomorrow. Can you just let us know if any fall through? And they were just like, no, we can't do that. You have to sign a contract, and the next one's, you know, are 7-8 months away. We didn't want to sign a contract for a car we didn't want in 7 or 8 months. Yep. And what did the guy, he kept calling you and he was like, oh, I've got a Hilux, mate. Oh, now I've got this. And I was like, that's not what we asked for.
Came out with a 200 series 2017 model with, I think it was 120,000 Ks on it. Like, also not what I'm looking for. No. I want brand new so I can do the GCM upgrade. Couldn't get us what we wanted, so we went with this because it was available, and just got all the work done to it in New South Wales, not New South Wales, in Victoria.
Yeah.
And it was done in time, like,
for us to bring it home for Christmas.
Yeah. If we'd left on time, if we got the van in August, it wouldn't have been ready in time. But because the van's been put back, it's given us enough time to get this done.
And you know what, it's so much more comfortable not being squished. Hudson can be in the back now. And it also frees up time for me as well, because I'll be working on the road, so we can actually, you know, travel, and I can just work from the car while we're traveling. So instead of traveling all day and then the next day working, I can kind of do 2 birds, 1 stone. So it'll free up some time for us in the long run. Yeah. And the only thing I've realised is, I said to Dion, going in the single cab, I was going to get a massage at least once a month because my back was going to be sore, and now I've realised I've shot myself in the foot. We've gone and got this new car, and now I can't do that anymore. So
might get it once every couple of months.
Yeah.
We'll see.
But anyway, so yeah, let's show you our new car.
It's a 2021 GXL in midnight blue, like the old old Cruiser. Picked it up with 70 kilometers on the actual clock, so they literally drove it from the dealership to the place to get all this work done on it. Just didn't like playing squishy in the middle of the single cab, so we decided we would get a dual cab. After the last year of decking out the old car.
Yep.
And yeah, we were looking at buying a dual cab at some point, but the problem was the wait time. And yeah, each time we went and asked, it was getting longer. It started at 3 months and it went to 6 months. Now you're looking at who knows how long.
9 to 12 months, I believe.
Yeah, and that's just to buy the car on its own, let alone decking it out, fitting it out, and all the other bits and pieces. Like, the wait time on just getting bull bars and side steps or trays is 3 months again. So you get the car, you get another 3 months on top of getting the car. So we found it in Melbourne. It got driven to a full drive shop, Guest Autos.
Guest full drive.
Guest full drive in Melbourne, and he does fit outs, put all the winch, the bull bar. Yeah, there's a bit of wind out here. The winch, the bull bar, snorkel, side steps, everything on the car. Did a track correction, so it's got the J-Max track correction with GVM upgrade to 3,950, Also got baby seat restraints put in, and then got sent over to Trig Point Canopy, and they decked out the canopy. It's a steel alloy like dual canopy, so it's got a bit more weight to it, but it's also got more strength to it. But it's not a jack-off canopy, so it's going to be a lot stronger, but we have a lot less weight without a tray. So sort of the old canopy was good because it was alley, but I needed a tray for it, and that tray on the old ute was 300 kilos. This canopy set up on its own is about 300 kilos. And then you add in spare tyre carrier, roof rack when we get that. We've got a 70-litre water tank underneath. You got side toolboxes, rear cameras, everything we need. And yeah, so we went down to Melbourne, picked up the car, drove 2 hours straight back, no, not 2 hours, 2 days straight back from Melbourne with the car. And yeah, did a 2,000k trip straight back from Melbourne. Didn't have anything really go wrong with it. And then yeah, we've spent the last week and a half, 2 weeks just decking out the inside. We've swapped the 130-litre Bushmans over from the old cruiser into this one with the same battery and inverter and drawer. Pretty much all our fit out that we did on the old cruiser we've stripped out and put into the new cruiser. We've put in fishing rod holders again, solar panels, not as much as we had on the last one, but we're limited on roof space with the dual cap. So we have two 160s making 320 watts of power. It's enough to run the fridge and the inverter and the cooktop when we use it. It's all going through a Enerdrive 40 amp DC to DC charger. So realistically, if we're driving an hour a day, we should never run out of power in this car. And the battery should last over a week without solar anyway. What else?
You're going to get the clutch and the tune done.
Oh yes. So it's a slug. It has no work done to the motor. It's stock standard. We're going to be sending it into Just Autos to get some work done on it. We'll be getting a custom airbox because the airboxes in these things are useless. They let dust through all the time. Our last cruiser, the motor died on that from the same problem. And the EGR. Going to be going EGR delete on the tune. We're going to be going custom airbox, catch can. We're going to either be getting just a standard tune or a multi-map tune. We don't know just yet. We'll have to wait and see what they recommend for towing a van versus just normal power. And then there's going to be a 1400 or a 1600 Newton meters clutch put in. I think that's an NPC clutch. That's the last one we had in the last car was a 1300 NPC. Then we're going to be going up to the 1600. Just because with towing we're going to need the extra force edge so that we don't end up burning out the clutch trying to tow 6.5 ton, like combined GCM, or 6.5 ton. Other than that, there's not much more to say about the car. We're going to give it a bit of a rundown, hopefully over Christmas, New Year's. We'll see what happens. See how COVID goes and if it lets us out of the house. That's about it.